From the horizon, 5 figures emerge, spaced evenly, moving in perfect sync and primary colours. Their masks hide their faces. Their weapons glint in the dying light. This isn't playtime, just the cold precision of something long rehearsed. It's easy to forget, but once this was for kids. We called it Power Rangers, a show where teenagers in colour-coded suits shouted their names, struck battle poses, and fought absurd monsters while explosions conveniently erupted behind them. Week after week, the same formation, the same choreography. At the time, we called it fun, maybe even empowering. But beneath the sparks and spandex, something darker was taking shape. We just didn't know it. This is the story of Power Rangers. Before the corporate training seminars, before brand loyalty becomes a form of selfhood, before masked obedience turns into an everyday performance, there is a floating head in a tube. His name is Zordon. He is glowing and all-knowing, a head without a body. To a child, he looks like wisdom incarnate. Part wizard, part dad, part ethereal desktop assistant. But step back. Strip away the nostalgia, and the truth is harder to ignore. Zordon isn't a mentor. He is an interdimensional psychologist running a long-term behavioral experiment disguised as an after-school superhero show. Teenagers, still forming, still fragile, not yet anchored in who they are, but already desperate to be something. These kids aren't chosen for their leadership or ethics. They're chosen for their availability and emotional pliability. Their only prerequisite, that they have attitude. It turns out the requirement for becoming a Power Ranger is no different than for becoming a TSA agent. Once chosen, these teenagers with attitude are thrown into an eternal war with no training and no pay. Zordon assigns them colours, not names, colours. Red, blue, pink, black, and yellow, and thus they are dubbed the mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Their assignments aren't earned, they're imposed, and with that colour comes a role, a label. They aren't building identities, they're being handed one and told to wear it proudly. And then the mask, the suit. The transformation is instant and total. Personal identity gives way to visual branding. He is no longer Jason, he is red. She is no longer Kimberly, she is pink. The masks remove the face, compress the voice, and erase doubt. You don't speak for yourself anymore, you speak as your function. It's de-individuation packaged as heroism. And once the mask is on, the mission is clear. Escalate. Every episode a conflict. Every conflict a monster. There's no time for nuance, no room for thought. Threats appear without context, and the Rangers are dispatched without question. Combat is instinct. Violence is the only true virtue. Do they ever take the time to ask Pumpkin Rapper about his music career, or Pursehead about what's in its bag? Of course not. They just punch, kick, and explode their way to resolution. And Zordon, he watches, offers cryptic advice, vaguely moral affirmations, and then disappears. He never fights or gets his non-existent hands dirty himself. He is a coward, even more so than his bumbling robot assistant, Alpha 5. He exists only to guide from afar, like a celestial HR rep who thinks empathy is a liability. The Power Rangers rehearse the world's collapse over and over, teaching children that the only way to feel powerful is to follow orders, wear your colour, strike your pose for your Instagram story, and destroy whatever threat comes your way. There's no curiosity about who Zordon really is. You don't need answers when there's a giant turtle to kick in the abdomen. And the system runs flawlessly. It replicates. New kids, new colours, new seasons, but the same framework. Strip the parts, plug them into the protocol, roll camera. Oh, and those new Rangers? They're replacing the old guard because the previous ones went to Switzerland for a Geneva Peace Conference. I'm not sure if you've seen TikTok, but I assure you, teenagers should be nowhere near a peace conference. Ultimately, once obedience becomes ritual, it doesn't matter who wears the mask. The only thing that matters is that the mask gets worn. While the mighty Morphin Power Rangers ruled the 1990s, the Power Rangers mantle carries on throughout the eras. The names change, the suit gets shinier, the Zords become cars, animals, trains, or mystical origami creatures. The villains shift from space witches to corrupted politicians, but through it all, two things remain absolutely, chillingly consistent: the undeniable cringe and the formation. Welcome to the Morphin Grid, a 30-year simulation with one goal: repetition disguised as reinvention. The Morphin Grid is what connects all of the Power Rangers throughout time and space together. Teens from generation to generation gather to become minted to this multiversal Mighty Morphin blockchain. Each new season introduces fresh characters, new backstories, and flashier effects. One year they're ninja students, the next intergalactic cops, pirates, samurai, time travelers, ninjas. Eventually they're bound to be a K-pop group, mark our words. But beneath every new coat of paint, the bones stay the same. 5 or 6 teens, always color-coded, usually led by Red. Sometimes he's angsty, sometimes he's cocky, sometimes he's a girl. The roles are rigid even when the people inside them aren't. The protocol absorbs change no matter the diversity behind the mask. Representation becomes just another color swatch on a template that never fundamentally changes. Each new season is a redesigned lab environment. New music, new iconography, new enemy design. But the experiment continues. Old heroes return. Retired villains become good. Like psychological chambers with different wallpaper, each version asks the same question. Will you still obey if we make it cooler? Will you still strike your pose if we change the aesthetic? And the answer for 3 decades is yes. The Power Rangers canon isn't about narrative, it isn't about emotional stakes, grounded character work, and certainly not about quality acting. It's about maintenance and selling merchandise. It updates the surface to keep you from questioning the core. You don't notice you're watching the same story because the helmets are different. You don't realize you're still being trained, and this training goes beyond television. The toys, the lunchboxes, the Halloween costumes, the YouTube compilations of morph sequences edited for maximum dopamine. It's all part of the system. Every transformation is a reminder. You are what you wear. Every catchphrase is a slogan ready for a coffee mug that doesn't have the stamina to withstand a dishwasher. Every Ranger team is a lifestyle brand with the same old mission statement. Perform. Punch them in the face. Even when the Rangers are framed as rebels, they still serve an unquestionable command structure, complete with its own headquarters and hybrid work model. Some sort of glowing object that tells them what to do. The rebellion is always sanctioned, safe, structured. You are allowed to challenge evil, just not authority. The world around the Rangers may change, cities fall, planets die, the laws of physics unravel. But the Rangers themselves are immovable. They do not evolve because evolution would require questioning, and questioning breaks the spell. So instead, the multiverse grows. More worlds, more Rangers, more colors. It is as infinite as the multiverse itself. You always know who to cheer for, and you always know who to hit. For decades we're told exactly who the enemy is. They summon monsters, laugh too loud, and always stand just a little too long in the path of an oncoming explosion. They are dramatic, they are strange, they are wrong. Or at least, that's the story we're given. Look a little closer and you'll notice something strange. None of these so-called villains are trying to destroy the universe. They're trying to change it, to reshape the rules, to question the structure, and in the morphin ecosystem, that's the real crime. Start with Rita Repulsa, the original villain, banished for 10,000 years, not killed, not rehabilitated, sealed away in a glorified trash bin on the moon. What was her crime, really? Wanting power? So does Zordon. Rita's mistake isn't ambition, it's insubordination. She mocks the structure of the powers that be. She sends her own monsters made of clay instead of fighting with sanctioned weapons. She questions the neat little binary of good versus evil. For that, she's labelled a witch, a madwoman, and a threat to accurate lip-syncing. Then comes Lord Zed, the real mastermind, a being who looks like pain incarnate, skin flayed away, muscles exposed, brain visible and vulnerable to the elements. Imagine a lice infestation for him. He doesn't wear armour because, unlike Zordon, he is not a coward. He chooses to be seen in the rawest, most grotesque way possible. There are fan theories, of course, that Zed was once a ranger, someone who followed every order until one day he asked a question the system didn't like. Perhaps he questioned Congress or the corporations. Maybe he was one to put milk in before his cereal. And for that, he was erased, remade into something terrifying. He and Rita fall in love and even get married, then soon after are transformed to be good, to fall in line, and abandon their only son in the process. Season after season, the antagonists grow more complex, if you bother to listen. Astronomer, kidnapped as a child, raised in darkness, manipulated by every system she touches. Rancic, a mutant rejected by a pristine future. Mesagonk, a split personality born from scientific overreach. These aren't monsters, they're outcomes, symptoms of a system that refuses to tolerate difference. Each one is born from rejection, exile, or a desire to escape someone else's narrative. They want power, sure, but they also want something deeper. Autonomy. And yet, every time they rise, the Rangers appear, on time, in sync. Weapons, flips and explosions at the ready. They don't interrogate the threat, they don't negotiate. They respond like a program executing a command. Restore order and smile for the cameras. This is the part the show never dwells on. The fact that the bad guys often have the better questions. Why does Zordon get to decide who's worthy? Why are identities assigned, not chosen? Why must every challenge to the status quo be met with overwhelming, rehearsed violence? The show avoids these questions because answering them would expose the truth. The villains refuse to wear the mask. They refuse to speak in catchphrases, and for that they are destroyed, because they are unmanageable. Power Rangers teaches you to fear disruption, to trust authority even when it floats in a tube and gives vague instructions like a new IKEA computer desk. It tells you if someone defies the system, they must be stopped. Zordon is the true harbinger of cancel culture, it seems. The villains, they're the only ones who read the fine print and said no. On paper, the Power Rangers introduction in the 90s looks ridiculous. In practice, it's a cultural virus. It is a show that is absorbed by children everywhere. Your backpack, your birthday cake, your light-up sneakers, your bones. And with a theme song this hardcore, this bombastic, surely it must be a type of mind control. Perhaps even a remnant of MK Ultra. You start assigning your friends Ranger colours on the playground. You instinctively know who's the red, the loud kid with leadership delusions and troubles at home. You learn subconsciously that every team needs a peppy girl in pink, a cool guy in black, and for blue, someone Scottish. It teaches you roles, archetypes, how to categorize yourself and those around you. The show turns group dynamics into a consumer-ready formula. Personality becomes palette, kids start acting like mini franchise extensions without realizing they're parroting the logic of a licensing deal. And then there's the gear. Morphers, Zords, blasters, foam weapons with rules you make up on the spot. The helmets, the show's visual crown jewel, become a symbol of coolness so potent it infects everything. You draw them on notebooks, you mimic their silhouettes. Halloween becomes less about creativity and more about which colour you get to claim. For a generation of kids, the mask isn't about hiding, but about power. An action figure line releases, where with the flick of their belt buckle, the Power Rangers teenagers morph into their helmets, their heads literally rotating forwards into their chest. When the chest compartment is open, you can see that their helmets are hidden inside, symbolizing that the Ranger identity has completely taken over their hearts, as it will us all. Further emphasized by the fact that the Rangers themselves, while at school in their everyday outfits, are still sporting their assigned colours. Surely Billy has more than just blue in his wardrobe, does he not? Unless, of course, he's secretly socializing with a particular group of young fellows in Compton. When a child selects their Power Ranger colour, they unknowingly reveal the truth of their developing psyche. Red kids want to dominate playtime, telling the rest of the group what they're going to play and how they're going to play it. A future CEO. Blue kids are passive, always reminding the teacher of homework, destined to be a professional Redditor. Yellow Rangers hooked up on sugar and soda, not ones for shoes. Green kids, the loners, content with playing video games in their room and destined to become a philosophy major. Black Rangers, mysterious and aloof, but everyone likes them. Hanging out with the jocks and nerds alike. Enjoys anime, but doesn't make it his entire personality. And the Pink Rangers, bubbly, outgoing, dominating tea parties with a hidden fire underneath. Secretly a mean girl, starting gossip and leading cliques, but hides it with a sweet ditzy exterior. Power Rangers arrives right as the West begins exporting culture at hyperspeed. It's American kids reenacting a dubbed Japanese show built from spliced flight footage written by toy executives and soundtracked like a wrestling match. It gives us a world with no politics, no poverty, no parents asking where you were last night when your Megazord totaled a business district. Just vibes, violence, and vaguely empowering speeches about teamwork. It's emotional fast food, and we eat it for years. You can draw a straight line from that to now, to influencers who curate their personal colour, to corporate teams that expect you to act like a superhero squad but pay you like a background extra, to adults who still group chat like they're in a command centre waiting for Alpha 5 to drop a mission briefing. You're fluent in the language of manufactured stakes. Power Rangers didn't teach you how to think, it taught you how to merge into a team, into a brand, into a narrative loop where your role is clear and your lines are pre-written. Because even now, part of you still believes if you could just find the right colour, the right team, you'd finally feel complete. Eventually we grow up. We stop watching the show. We stop morphing in the hallway. The toys go in a box. The costumes get replaced by suits or uniforms or vision boards. But something lingers, because Power Rangers doesn't end. The lessons, the logic, the choreography of identity. It all gets absorbed into adulthood. Subtly, systematically, before we know it, we are all living in a Megazord. We combine to fight problems. It sounds noble, doesn't it? And it can be. However, it is also the cornerstone of corporate synergy. Every Zord alone is interesting, stylish, competent. But the real power comes from merging, from becoming one large indistinct mass that punches with a shared sense of purpose. This is how conglomerates are born. This is how brands operate. The message was always about becoming useful by merging. How do you think the Walt Disney Company became so powerful? By merging, of course. Individuality is allowed, celebrated even, but only in pre-approved quantities. You're not different. You're your own colour. unique but slotted into a format, distinct but colour matched to the team. You're a red who leads, or a pink who flips, or a green who gets redemption arcs. Nobody tells you what to be, they just wait for you to pick a role and never stray from it. And the teamwork, it's never quiet. Every enemy is defeated not by dialogue or empathy, but by consensus-based violence. The Megazord of groupthink hurls a glowing sword of vitriol through the problem and strikes a pose. This becomes the template for adult problem solving. Whether it's through movements or marketing campaigns, you'll hear echoes of morphin time, a sudden urgency, a chorus of voices chanting in agreement. Every brand is now a ranger team. Every workplace has a colour-coded waterfall chart. Every mission needs a hero, a strategist, a wild card, positioning this well-oiled machine as a family. Go Go Power Rangers was never just a theme song. It's a call to arms. Power chords and war drums and a chorus telling you exactly what your job is. Go, go. No time to think. There's a deadline or a quarterly earnings report. Where you used to have a Zordon motivating you to trek onward, now you have Gary Vaynerchuk in your AirPods. We crave structure. We crave being a part of something, but only if we know our colour, our pose. And when that final monster falls and the Zords return to their hangars, you stand in a line with your team and wait for the credits to roll. You were enough, if even for a moment, in the world Zordon built. Asking questions gets you exiled. So where does this leave us today? Well, enter Sir Jimmy Crystal, Jack O'Connell's character in the film 28 years later. He rescues Spike with a flawless team of acolytes dressed in matching tracksuits and blonde wigs. They move like exaggerated ninja monks, slicing through the undead in choreographed flips and different bright colours as heavy metal music blares in the background, and uncannily echoing to Power Rangers. This closing scene is more than stylish, it's a cultural sting. Jimmy and his cult are blatantly styled after Jimmy Savile, the once beloved TV presenter, later revealed to be a prolific abuser and truly evil man all round. In this alternate 2002 world, the rage virus began before Savile's crimes were known. So in Spike's world, Savile is still a national hero. The result? A grotesque marriage of nostalgia, cultish obedience, and sanitized evil. But how does this connect to Power Rangers? They move information, 5 in sync, not morphing, but murdering infected with discipline. They're a branded group. Tracksuits are their uniforms. Like Rangers, belonging is signalled through colour-coded conformity. The heavy metal music that plays as they spring into action is a twisted cover of the Teletubbies theme song, the TV show Jimmy was watching when the outbreak began, and yet another symbol of a homogenized group in different colours. Jimmy's cult is blinded by nostalgia, clinging to the icons of their innocence no matter what. They skip the rhetoric, there's no explanation, no debate, just action. Violence is consensus. Granted, they were fighting zombies. It's rather difficult to debate with a zombie. Feel free to go on x.com and try it for yourself. By filtering Savile's image, a wicked authority figure hidden behind benevolence through the Rangers' choreography of violence, 28 years later reveals the final step in the doctrine. Helmet optional, instinct mandatory, obedience ingrained. That idol you worship, that mentor you look up to, could very well be hiding darkness beneath their wise exterior. But you would never know, because you never question. The apocalypse didn't start with the rage virus, it started with the uniform. The lesson that the right team, no matter how distorted, is always worth joining. And just like that, the lineage is complete. Zordon acted as though he wished to change the world. But this was only a half-truth. For you see, what he wanted all along was to see it morph.